Welcome back to my channel, Learning English Level 3. I'm so happy you're here today. In this video, we're going to talk about something that will help you not only with your English fluency but also with your life goals. Never share your plan. This might sound surprising at first, but trust me, there's a powerful lesson behind it. If you follow along, you'll learn why sometimes keeping your plans to yourself can make a big difference in reaching your goals. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. Your support really means a lot to me and helps me make more helpful videos for you. Now let's dive into today's lesson. Lesson 1. Keep your plans close to your heart. When you have a big dream or a goal, it's completely normal to feel excited and want to share it with others. You might feel like telling your friends, family, or even strangers about your plans because you want them to be as excited as you are. However, sometimes it's better to keep your plans to yourself, especially when you're just starting out. Why is it important to keep your plan close? The world can be filled with people who might not believe in your dreams, and unfortunately, some people might even try to talk you out of it. It could be out of their own fears or doubts, or because they simply don't understand your vision. If you share your plan too early, you might face criticism, even from the people you trust most. This can lead to unnecessary doubt, and once you start doubting yourself, it becomes harder to stay focused and motivated. It might even cause you to abandon your goal altogether. When you're working towards something big, you need to believe in it with all your heart. Having your plans doubted by others can make you feel uncertain and unsure about what you're doing. It can cause you to question whether your dream is realistic, or whether you're just wasting your time. But the truth is, you don't need everyone's approval to succeed. You just need to trust yourself, work hard, and let your success do the talking later on. Example story 1. Let me tell you about Sarah, a friend of mine who had a dream of becoming a professional artist. Sarah was incredibly talented, and she had a passion for creating beautiful works of art. Naturally, she was excited about her dream and couldn't wait to tell her friends and family. But when she shared her plan, the response wasn't exactly what she had hoped for. Some people told her that being an artist wasn't a stable career, that she should focus on something more practical, like accounting or engineering. These comments hit Sarah hard, and she began to doubt herself. Maybe they were right. Maybe becoming an artist wasn't a smart choice after all. For a time, Sarah's confidence wavered. She thought about giving up on her dream, but then she had an epiphany. She realized that sharing her plans too early had allowed others' doubts to influence her. Sarah decided to stop telling people about her dream. She kept her plans to herself and focused on improving her skills. Instead of discussing her goals, she worked quietly, pouring hours into her art every single day. Over time, her talent grew, and so did her reputation. Eventually, Sarah became a successful and well-known artist, showcasing her work in galleries and gaining recognition in the art world. The very people who had doubted her were the ones who later came to her, amazed by her success. By keeping her plans private and focusing on her craft, Sarah was able to prove to herself, and to others, that her dream was worth pursuing. Example story 2. Another example comes from a friend named John, who had always dreamed of starting his own business. John was passionate about the idea of creating a tech startup that could help people solve everyday problems. He worked on his business plan for months, refining it and preparing to launch. But when he shared his idea with his friends, one of them laughed at him. "Who's going to buy from you? What makes you think you can succeed?" The words stung, and for a while, John couldn't shake off the negativity. His friend's doubt made him question whether starting a business was really such a good idea. Was he just wasting his time? But John didn't give up. Instead of arguing with his friend or trying to convince him, he decided to keep his business plans to himself. He focused all of his energy on getting the business off the ground. For months, John worked quietly, building his product, learning from mistakes, and making improvements. And then, the day came when his hard work began to pay off. John's company became a huge success, and his product found a strong following. His friend, who once laughed at him, now wanted to know his secret. John smiled and said, "I didn't share my plan with anyone. I just worked hard in silence." Sometimes, keeping your plans to yourself is the key to success. Example story 3. Finally, let me share the story of Emma, a student who dreamed of getting into a prestigious university. Emma had always been a hard-working student, but when she told her classmates about her goal, many of them laughed. "You're aiming too high. It's too competitive. Why don't you just apply to a regular school like everyone else?" Instead of arguing with them or getting upset, Emma chose not to share her plans with anyone else. She kept her study schedule to herself, focusing on improving her grades and skills every single day. Every time her classmates made negative comments, Emma simply smiled and kept working harder. As the months passed, Emma continued to put in the effort, and when the time came to apply to universities, she was prepared. Not only did she get into the university she had dreamed of, but she also received a scholarship for her hard work. Her classmates were shocked, but Emma had already proven to herself that she could achieve her dream, without anyone's doubts getting in the way. By keeping her study plans private, Emma focused on what truly mattered, her future. Why keeping your plan to yourself works. These stories share a common thread. The people involved didn't let others' doubts stop them from chasing their dreams. They chose to keep their plans to themselves until they had built something real. Whether that was a successful business, a well-crafted art career, or a scholarship to a top university. By keeping their plans close to their hearts and working quietly, they protected their vision and stayed focused. Sometimes when you share your goals too early, you give away your power. People's negative comments and doubts can throw you off course. But when you keep your plans private, you have the space to think clearly, work hard, and believe in yourself. This way, you can focus on the journey without letting others' opinions hold you back. Remember, your dreams are yours to protect. Keep them close, work diligently, and let your success speak for itself. Lesson 2. Actions speak louder than words. Have you ever found yourself excitedly talking about your plans and goals, only to realize that you haven't actually taken any steps to make them happen? It's easy to fall into the trap of discussing our dreams, but the real progress comes from action. Often, when you share your plans, you might end up spending too much time talking about them instead of actually working on them. The truth is, when you focus on your actions instead of talking about your plans, you'll make much more progress. You'll avoid distractions, keep your energy focused, and in the end, your results will speak for themselves. Why is this important? Talking about your plans can give you a sense of accomplishment, but it's not the same as actually working toward your goals. Sometimes you may feel good after discussing your dreams with friends and family, but this feeling can trick you into thinking you've already taken action. In reality, the only thing that truly moves you forward is doing the work. Whether you're working on a big project, starting a new habit, or pursuing a long-term goal, action is what brings results. By keeping quiet and focusing on your actions, you'll be able to make real progress without the distractions of other people's opinions or the false sense of accomplishment that comes from simply talking. In the end, your hard work will speak louder than any words you could say. Example story 1. Let me tell you about a person I know who spent years talking about their dream of becoming an author. Every time we met, they'd say, "One day I'm going to write a book." It became a recurring conversation, and we all believed they would eventually do it. But despite talking about it constantly, they never actually started writing. They kept putting it off, saying things like, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I need to plan it better first." Years went by, and nothing had changed. The book remained unwritten, and the dream remained unfulfilled. One day, this person realized that talking about writing a book wasn't enough. The more they talked, the further they got from their goal. So, they decided to stop telling people about it and focus on the work. They started writing every day, even if it was just for a short period of time. They made it a priority, and slowly but surely, the book started to take shape. A year later, they published their first book. It became a bestseller, and not only that, but it led to more books and a successful writing career. All the years they spent talking about writing the book didn't amount to anything until they took action. Their success wasn't built on conversations but on their daily commitment to sitting down and writing. Their work, not their words, made the difference. Example story 2. Another person I know had a big dream of becoming a successful YouTuber. First, he was really excited about the idea. He shared his plans with everyone, telling his friends, family, and even random people that he was going to start a YouTube channel. He had plenty of video ideas and was full of enthusiasm, but instead of working on his videos, he spent most of his time talking about them. He'd tell everyone, "I'm going to make videos about gaming," or "My channel is going to be huge." But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, with no videos posted. He found himself spending more time discussing his plans than actually making content. His energy was going into the conversation, not the creation. Finally, he had an important realization. Talking about the channel wasn't getting him anywhere. If he truly wanted to succeed, he needed to stop talking and start creating. So he did just that. He picked up his camera and started filming, focusing on making quality videos. He learned from mistakes, improved his editing, and grew his channel bit by bit. Months later, his YouTube channel grew significantly, and his videos started getting the attention they deserved. People began recognizing him, Not because of all the things he had said, but because of the consistent effort he had put into creating content. His channel began to gain subscribers, and eventually he started making money from his videos. By focusing on the work and not just talking about it, he was able to turn his dream into a reality. Example story 3. Let's talk about Maria, a young woman with a dream of becoming a professional dancer. Maria loved dancing and wanted to join a well-known dance company one day. She would talk about her dreams of performing on big stages and how she was going to make it in the competitive world of dance. She was always telling her friends and family about how much she loved dancing and how she was going to make it. However, when it came to her training, Maria didn't practice as much as she should have. She attended some classes but never fully committed herself. She would say, "I'll practice more tomorrow," but the next day she'd find another excuse. The excitement of talking about her dream kept her distracted from doing the work needed to achieve it. One day Maria had a wake-up call. She realized that simply talking about her dream of becoming a dancer wasn't enough. She wasn't going to improve just by telling others how passionate she was. So she decided to take action. She started practicing every day, dedicating herself to improving her technique, strength, and stamina. She worked hard even when it was tough and focused on making progress instead of talking about it. After years of dedication and training, Maria finally achieved her dream. She became a dancer in a famous dance company, performing on stage in front of huge audiences. Her story isn't one of endless conversations about dancing. It's a story of action. Maria's success was built on years of hard work, not on the words she shared with others. Why actions are more powerful than words. In all three of these stories, the common thread is clear. Nothing happens unless you take action. It's easy to talk about your plans, share your ideas, and get excited about the future. But if you don't back up your words with real work, your dreams will remain just that, dreams. Talking is cheap. Actions, on the other hand, require commitment, effort, and perseverance. When you focus on your work and let your actions speak for themselves, you'll begin to see real results. The world doesn't remember the people who talked about their dreams. It remembers the people who worked hard to make them happen. So, the next time you feel the urge to share your plans with everyone, ask yourself, am I talking more than I'm doing? If you are, it's time to start working in silence, and let your progress do the talking for you. Your actions will eventually make a bigger impact than any words ever could. Lesson 3. The power of silence. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel the need to share everything, from personal goals to big dreams. We often talk about our plans with friends, family, or social media in hopes of gaining support or validation. But there's a powerful tool that can help you stay focused and on track. Silence. Silence isn't about being quiet for the sake of it. It's about creating space for yourself to think, plan, and act without distractions. Why does silence help? Silence is a tool that protects your focus and helps you maintain control over your journey. When you keep your plans to yourself, you free yourself from unnecessary distractions and opinions from others. People may offer advice, share their doubts, or tell you it's not possible. While some feedback can be helpful, most of the time, unwanted opinions can derail you from your true path. Keeping your plans quiet allows you to focus deeply on what matters, whether that's refining your idea, preparing for success, or simply thinking through the next step. When you choose silence, you give yourself the freedom to take measured steps, work through challenges, and make mistakes without judgment or external noise. It helps you stay grounded and connected to your goals. More importantly, silence gives you the power to move at your own pace, without the rush or pressure from outside forces. Example story 1. Let me tell you about a man named Lucas. Lucas had a dream to create a new invention that he believed could change the way people lived. He was passionate about the idea, and when he first started working on it, he shared it with a few people close to him. However, every time he mentioned the idea, someone would say, "It'll never work," or "Why would anyone need that?" These comments, although probably well-meaning, began to affect Lucas. He felt disheartened, as though his idea wasn't as great as he had initially believed. Instead of arguing with the critics or getting discouraged, Lucas chose to keep his plan to himself. He stopped talking about it altogether and focused on perfecting his invention in silence. Over the years, he spent countless hours researching, testing, and improving his design. While the world around him was busy offering their opinions, Lucas was quietly working towards making his dream a reality. Eventually, after much hard work, Lucas's invention was perfected and became a commercial success. The silence he had chosen allowed him the space to fine-tune his idea without the distractions of criticism, and his success became the loudest reply to everyone who doubted him. Example story 2. Another person I know, Lucy, had a dream of becoming a successful chef and opening her own restaurant. At the time, she was working at a local cafe, learning everything she could about cooking, restaurant management, and the culinary industry. But instead of telling everyone about her plans, she decided to keep her dream a secret. Lucy knew that the restaurant business could be incredibly difficult, and she didn't want to hear any doubts from people who weren't familiar with the industry. For years, Lucy worked quietly. She spent late nights experimenting with recipes, studying successful chefs, and gaining hands-on experience. She carefully crafted a plan for her restaurant, making sure every detail was in place before opening. Finally, the day came when Lucy felt ready. She opened her own restaurant, and it quickly became a top-rated place in the city. The food was extraordinary, and the service was impeccable. Within months, people were lining up just to get a table. Lucy's success was the best answer to all the people who had doubted her dream. The silence she kept allowed her to focus on what really mattered, the hard work and dedication required to succeed. By not sharing her plans too early, she avoided the negative feedback that could have deterred her. Her quiet determination ultimately led her to build a thriving business, and today, her restaurant is one of the most popular spots in town. Example story 3. In high school, I remember a student named James who wanted to be a great athlete. James was incredibly talented and had big dreams of making it to the national track and field competition. At first, he told everyone about his goal, but after hearing some of his classmates' skeptical comments, he decided to stop sharing his plans. Some classmates said it was too hard, while others thought he was just being too ambitious. Instead of arguing with them or seeking their approval, James kept his goal to himself. Rather than talking about it, James chose to dedicate himself to training every day. He focused on improving his speed, endurance, and technique, quietly putting in the hours at the gym and track. He faced setbacks, of course, but he kept his doubts and frustrations to himself and worked through them. James didn't need anyone else's approval or encouragement to stay focused. He was determined to succeed on his own terms. When the big competition came around, James was ready. He didn't need to boast about his progress or explain his journey. All the hard work he had put in during those months of silence spoke for itself. James won first place, and his victory was a testament to his dedication and the power of staying focused on his goals without sharing them with everyone. His quiet commitment was what ultimately led him to success. Why silence is a powerful tool. In these stories, the common theme is clear. Silence gave each person the space to focus on what really mattered. Whether it was refining an invention, perfecting a recipe, or training for a competition, keeping their plans quiet allowed them to concentrate on the necessary work without external distractions. Silence doesn't just protect your dreams. It helps you to move at your own pace, without feeling pressured by others' opinions or expectations. By choosing to be silent, you create room for introspection, clarity, and focused action. It allows you to prepare, refine, and plan without anyone else's doubts or discouragements getting in your way. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're being intentional about your work and not letting unnecessary distractions steal your focus. It's about building your dreams in peace and letting your results speak for themselves when the time is right. So, next time you have a big goal or dream, remember that silence can be your greatest ally. You don't need to share everything right away. Instead, use the power of silence to protect your vision and stay focused on the hard work that will get you to your destination. When your success arrives, you won't need to explain it. You'll simply let it speak for itself. Lesson 4. Protect your energy. When you have a big dream or a new goal, it's natural to want to share it with others. You might feel excited and want to get feedback, encouragement, or even just validation from the people around you. However, what many don't realize is that sharing your plans too early can sometimes lead to draining your energy. Negative comments, doubts, or unwanted advice from well-meaning people can easily steal your enthusiasm and disrupt your focus. That's why it's essential to protect your energy. When you choose to keep your plans private, you create a space for yourself to think clearly, conserve your emotional energy, and stay focused on what truly matters. This allows you to avoid unnecessary distractions and the energy-draining effect of external negativity. Why is protecting your energy important? Your energy is one of your most valuable resources, and how you use it can directly impact your success. If you're constantly explaining yourself, defending your plans, or battling people's doubts, you'll soon find yourself worn out. Instead of putting energy into your work, you're expending it on convincing others or dealing with unnecessary negativity. By keeping your plans to yourself, you can focus your energy where it really counts, on taking the necessary steps to make your dream come true. When you keep your goals private, you're also preserving your mental and emotional energy, which is crucial for maintaining motivation and persistence. You can spend this energy on your growth, learning, and improving, without worrying about anyone else's opinions. Example story 1. A good friend of mine, Matt, had an amazing dream of traveling the world and sharing his experiences through a travel blog. He was passionate about photography and writing, and he believed that by documenting his adventures, he could inspire others to explore the world as well. He was so excited about the idea that he started telling his friends and family, hoping for their support. But every time he mentioned his plan, he was met with doubt. Why would anyone care about your travels? It's too hard to make a living from a travel blog. You'll never be able to afford it. Each comment felt like a punch to the gut, and Matt began to feel discouraged. Instead of feeling motivated, he started doubting his own abilities. Then Matt realized something. These comments, though they weren't meant to harm, were draining his enthusiasm. The more he shared his plans, the more he was bombarded with negativity. That's when he decided to stop talking about it. Matt kept his plans to himself and focused on what he truly wanted to achieve. He saved up money, planned his trips, and started writing and creating content. Over time, he built a successful travel blog, and today, Matt is a famous travel blogger with thousands of followers. His success was built in silence, away from the negativity that could have held him back. He kept his energy focused on doing what he loved. Example story 2. Another friend of mine, Sophie, had been struggling with her fitness goals for years. She wanted to get in better shape and develop healthier habits, but each time she talked about her plans, someone would offer unsolicited advice or tell her how hard it would be. It's going to take forever. You won't be able to keep it up. Or why don't you just try something simpler? Sophie quickly realized that talking about her fitness journey wasn't helping her progress. It was actually draining her energy. Instead of sharing her plans with everyone, Sophie decided to keep them to herself. She stopped explaining why she wanted to get fit and focused purely on her workout routine. She started exercising every day, learning about nutrition, and making steady improvements. Over time, she began to see amazing results. She felt stronger, healthier, and more confident. By the time people started noticing her transformation, Sophie didn't need to explain anything to anyone. Her results spoke for themselves. The energy she saved by not engaging in unnecessary conversations helped her stay focused and determined, and it ultimately led to her success. Example story 3. There's also the story of a man named Jack, who dreamed of becoming a professional musician. Jack had been playing guitar since he was a child, and he had always wanted to make music his career. He started composing his own songs and dreaming of recording an album. But every time he shared his aspirations with his friends or family, someone would tell him how tough the music industry was or how unlikely it was that he'd make it. You're not going to make money from music. The competition is too fierce. And why not just get a regular job? Were some of the comments he received. At first, Jack tried to convince them that he could succeed, but he quickly realized that their doubts were draining him. Instead of talking about his goals, Jack chose to keep his plans private. He spent the next few years working on his music in silence, composing new songs, and perfecting his guitar skills. He practiced for hours each day and slowly built his portfolio. Years later, Jack signed a record deal and released an album that went viral. His music became popular and his career took off. Jack's journey had been quiet, but his success spoke loudly. By choosing not to share his plans too early and protecting his energy, he was able to avoid negativity and stay focused on his passion. His hard work and dedication, kept behind the scenes, led to an incredible breakthrough. Why protecting your energy is crucial. In all these stories, the key takeaway is that protecting your energy allows you to focus on your goals without being distracted by unnecessary negativity. Whether it's from well-meaning friends, family members, or even strangers, external doubt can sap your motivation and slow down your progress. When you keep your plans private, you prevent others from taking your energy away and give yourself the space to grow and move forward. The act of protecting your energy is a conscious decision. It means saying no to distractions, refusing to engage with negative opinions, and choosing to stay focused on what really matters. It's about saving your energy for the things that will bring you closer to your goal, whether that's working on your skills, developing your product, or simply persevering through tough times. You don't need to explain your dreams to everyone. You don't need to share your journey with the world before you've reached your destination. In fact, keeping your plans to yourself often leads to better results because you're able to keep your energy pure and untainted by outside influences. So, the next time you have a goal, remember to protect your energy. Focus on the work that matters, and let your success do the talking when the time is right. Lesson 5. Trust your own journey. In life, everyone has their own path to follow, and the most important lesson you can learn is to trust yours. When you keep your plans to yourself, you give yourself the space to grow at your own pace, without comparing yourself to others. The temptation to look around and measure your progress against someone else's journey can be strong, especially in a world where social media often showcases everyone's successes. But remember, your journey is unique, and that's something to celebrate. Why trust your journey? Your path is different from everyone else's, and that's completely okay. There's no one-size-fits-all blueprint for success. Each person's life story is different, and so are the challenges, opportunities, and experiences that shape them. When you compare your journey to someone else's, you can lose sight of your own unique strengths and potential. You might feel discouraged if others seem to be achieving their goals faster or more easily, but that's not a fair comparison. You are on your own timeline, and that's exactly how it should be. When you keep your plans private, you give yourself the space to focus entirely on your growth without the distractions of other people's paths. This allows you to trust the process and keep working at your own pace, without worrying about what anyone else is doing. It's about recognizing that the progress you're making is enough, no matter how fast or slow it may seem compared to others. Trusting your journey is also about giving yourself the freedom to make mistakes, adjust your course, and learn as you go. No one's path is perfectly linear, and setbacks or detours are part of the process. By trusting yourself and staying focused on your goals, you allow yourself to embrace the ups and downs as part of the journey toward your ultimate success. Example Story 1. Let me share the story of Clara, a woman who always dreamed of becoming a writer. Clara had loved reading and writing from a young age, but when she was in her 20s, she decided to pursue her dream of writing professionally. At first, she told a few friends about her plan to write books, but after hearing some of their comments, she realized that sharing her plans wasn't helping her. Some people would say, "It's so hard to get published. Maybe you should try writing something that's more popular." Or, "Why not just write short stories instead of a full novel?" Instead of getting discouraged, Clara chose to trust her own journey. She decided not to compare her progress with anyone else's and focused solely on her own writing. She didn't rush. She took her time to write, refine her stories, and learn more about the craft. Clara didn't share her plans with anyone. Instead, she kept her writing to herself and let it grow quietly. Over the years, Clara wrote many stories and submitted them to publishers. Her dedication paid off when she was finally offered a book deal. And today, Clara is a well-known author with her own book series. Her success wasn't built on rushing to meet others' timelines or worrying about how fast others were progressing. It came from trusting her own journey, working steadily, and believing that her path would lead her to where she needed to be. Example story 2. Then there's Leo, a young man I know who had a passion for programming. Leo wanted to learn how to code and work for a top tech company, but he didn't rush or make his ambitions public. Instead of telling everyone about his goal to become a programmer, Leo kept his plans private and worked quietly in the background. He spent hours every day learning new programming languages, experimenting with code, and building small projects. He wasn't in a rush to show the world his progress, and he wasn't comparing himself to other young programmers who seemed to be making rapid advances. While his friends were posting about their achievements and landing internships at big tech companies, Leo stayed focused on his own growth. He didn't feel the need to rush or compete. Slowly but surely Leo's skills grew stronger, and after a few years of hard work, he finally landed a job at a top tech company. His quiet dedication paid off, and today, he's one of the leading developers at his company. His success didn't come from comparing himself to others or sharing his plans too early. It came from trusting his own journey and letting his progress speak for itself. Example story 3. Another inspiring story is that of Emily, a friend of mine who dreamed of building her own fashion brand. Emily had always been passionate about fashion and design, and she wanted to create a brand that would reflect her unique style. But instead of talking about her plans to everyone around her, she kept them to herself and worked in silence. She spent years perfecting her designs, learning about fabrics, and understanding the business side of fashion. At first, Emily didn't tell anyone about her dream. She knew the fashion industry could be harsh and that people might offer unsolicited opinions or doubts. So, she focused on developing her designs, creating prototypes, and building her brand behind the scenes. Emily didn't compare her progress to anyone else's. She trusted that her time would come when the moment was right. Finally, after years of hard work, Emily launched her fashion line. Today, her brand is successful, and she has gained a loyal following of customers who love her designs. Looking back, Emily is proud of the journey she took. She didn't feel pressured to follow anyone else's path. By trusting her own journey, She was able to create something meaningful and stay true to her vision. Why trusting your journey matters. The stories of Clara, Leo, and Emily all show that success isn't about rushing or comparing your progress with others. It's about trusting that your journey is unique and giving yourself the space to grow at your own pace. When you keep your plans to yourself, you give yourself the freedom to focus on what truly matters, your own growth and progress. In today's world, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind if you look at what others are doing. But remember, everyone's path is different. Some people may be moving faster, while others may take longer to reach their goals. What matters most is that you trust your own journey and stay true to your own timeline. Your journey is yours, and it will unfold exactly as it's meant to. By trusting your journey, you give yourself permission to grow without the pressure of others' expectations. Whether it takes months or years, whether you encounter setbacks or take detours, the most important thing is that you keep moving forward. Your journey is unique, and if you trust it, you will get to where you need to be, just at the right time. Conclusion. To wrap things up, remember that sometimes it's better to keep your plans to yourself until you've achieved something. It protects your dreams, conserves your energy, and allows you to focus on the journey ahead. Trust your process, work hard, and let your actions do the talking. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and support the channel. I hope this video has inspired you to keep your plans private and focus on your goals. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.